Hello, welcome to the video. I'm Melissa, I write books. So, I just finished my book yesterday. If you missed that, check out the last video on this channel. This morning I had a little reading party planned with some of my friends, so I think you probably saw some clips of that. I kind of feel aimless, like, because I finished the book and I knew I had this in the morning, so I like kind of went straight from finishing the book to just like getting everything ready for hosting some people. And now I'm like, what am I even doing? There's nothing to write. There's nothing, like, who am I? So I thought we would do a little Preptober video because I have missed out on 90% of Preptober because I've been writing and drafting a book. And so I haven't gotten to do like the fall outlining, prepping, brainstorming, walking through the leaves, thinking about a new book stuff, you know? And so if you are new, a little bit of context, I just finished book 1 and it's a fantasy duology. So the next thing I will be writing fresh will be book 2 of the fantasy duology, which has like a rough, basic, big picture outline that I actually did narrow down a little bit while I was drafting book 1. But that's not what I'm going to be working on in November, most likely. I am in a mentorship program for my romantic suspense novel, which has gone by the alias of Project Gas Station on this channel. Which is like a fake dating bank robbery book. So I'm waiting to like meet with her and see what the edits are on that. And so I don't know exactly when I'm going to start with that, but that leaves me with a week. In 1 week from today is the first day of November, which is actually insane now that I think about that. But I want to do all the Preptober things. I want to like dream about a story and like outline and really indulge in that like fall prepping time. Sorry, that's my air fryer going off with my lunch. And so yesterday I actually did a little shopping, very minimal, but I just finished my book. I was like, I want to like do a little Preptober shopping. So I guess I'll go get those. Now to clarify, you do not need to buy anything to write a book. You likely have everything you need to write a book already in your home, but I was like, let me just go and get a few little things. So first I got a water bottle. Do I already have a water bottle? Yes. Is it sort of, it like got moldy once and then I've been afraid of it. And then I just haven't been using it because like subliminally I'm like, what if there's still mold in there? So it's like an off-brand Awala. I went to Walmart, so it's like $12 instead of $40. So I got a little water bottle. Hopefully it will keep me hydrated. And then I got some Sharpie gel pens. I've been running low on pens and I just wanted pens, okay? So like little prepping pens. I also got some cozy little fuzzy socks, just for fun. And then I got these little tabs, these little Sharpie tabs, because if I'm gonna be doing edits on my finished book, it's not finished, I'm doing another round of edits on it, so the book I've been querying for a while, I thought, you know, I might need to mark certain chapters to keep track of edits and things, so I thought this might be a good thing to get. But that's all I really got, because really you don't need anything. If you have a computer, you can use Google Docs, you can use your phone. Like if you are watching this video, that means you have the accessibility to a device which can access the internet. And honestly, do you even need that? You could use a piece of paper. I mean, you probably can't write a whole book on a piece of paper, but you know what I mean. Okay, are these socks reversible? No, they're just like those thick, where it's like double layered sort of. That is my little tiny Preptober haul. But I was thinking in this video, I could do a more in-depth outline of book 2. In the meantime, I'm probably not gonna start writing it until after I finish all the edits on Project Gas Station, but it would be kind of great to go into more depth, specifically for the first half, like do like chapter by chapter what actually happens in these scenes now that I've reached the end of the book. And so just spending a little bit of time on that until I have edits on my book. If I do kind of want to take a beat because I'm going to be writing a lot in November, so just taking it a little bit slower, doing more cozy fall things like doing a puzzle and watching fall movies and shows and going and looking at a pumpkin. Like that's what this morning was reading. I was reading, I've talked about this before, but then I never started reading it. It's a romance. It says it's a rom-com, but it's like very much the style of book that I write. It's called The Takedown. I think it's romantic suspense. It's like a CIA agent who is investigating a criminal who her sister is engaged to, and then she's falling for his criminal bodyguard. So I started reading this during the reading party. We only read for like 25 minutes and then just chatted, but I got about 40 pages in. It's like 320 pages. I think accidentally, like I was just flipping through and read around. I think I accidentally like read the most spoilery paragraph, but if that is what that means, I could have seen it coming, to be honest. As someone who writes in this genre, I'm like, yeah. But I'm excited. I'm gonna be able to do some reading. Should just be fun. And I also am gonna be doing some prepping for doing daily videos in the month of November. This month, I talked about this briefly. I wanted to have more sit-down videos batched and ready so that if I feel like I need a day off of vlogging, I have videos that are ready to go. So if you guys have any video ideas, feel free to leave them in the comments. I still have not put up a Q&A, but I will be doing that to give me some ideas. But I'm gonna film one video on comparing my first and last draft of a particular scene. So I might actually film that today, but I'm gonna film that. I'm gonna film a video on why I no longer use dictation for my first drafts and like how I came to that decision and why, like who it might still work for and who it might not. And then I also am going to do a kind of updated, like I've written this many books, here's what I've learned kind of a video. I did one of those about a year ago, but I feel like I've had kind of an interesting year in terms of developing my craft and my thoughts and opinions about writing. And so doing an updated version of that. I might not do that all today, but I will do that this week so that I have 3 videos in the can ready to go. And I also, you'll see, because for you, like NaNoWriMo starts in a couple of days. For me, it's a full week. So yeah, it's gonna be the ultimate Preptober video. Grab a candle. Maybe don't grab a candle. I also bought a candle. That's my other thing. That was like the main thing I bought, but it's already going. That's why it says calm. Coconut, citrus, and amber. Lovely. And I also, this is my stack of blankets I had prepared for my reading party. Nobody took any, but it's nice that they're all here now, stacked up so cozily. This is the little setup. I have some fall ambience. I looked up fall ambience, no AI, and this is what came up. It's very cozy. Then I have my rocking chair I moved out here, and my chair, which has a cute little orange blanket that says, hey, pumpkin. This was my little like station. So there were some cinnamon rolls here and then like apples and caramel sitting out and little plates, little china plates. And then I had a little stack of, this is Cody's book, Ghostwriters Club. This is a book I have my short story in. This is a poetry collection from somebody I went on the Good Lit retreat with. And then this is just my copy of the gas station. So I put this here, little decor, little welcome, little fall moment. Lots of candles burning. And then I also had, one of the gals brought some coffee, and then I just, in case anybody wanted water or tea, I had that going too. So this is the little reading party setup. I put up this sign that says welcome. It's very fall. I know I'm decorating for fall like the last week of October, but that's very on brand. It did motivate me to clean my house. And I finally finished season 8 of Doctor Who because I've been avoiding it, because I don't really like it very much. But I think I remember liking season 9 more, so I'm excited to watch that. I was also thinking about starting a rewatch of Once Upon a Time, but I really need to decide and commit to that though, because if I do that, I need to buy it somewhere. Like I don't have Disney Plus or whatever that's on. And so I would need to like buy each season, which is how I'm doing Doctor Who. Like I buy each season on Amazon Prime, and then I'm like, I own that now, sort of, and so I can watch it in the future, and I don't know. That's my debate. Because I want to for sure have a show that I'm watching during NaNoWriMo, because last year that was really pivotal for me. I was watching Project Runway last year, and I think it's important, like while I'm doing daily vlogs and writing and doing this big goal, it's really important for me to prioritize also having intentional, like a hard stop at 8 p.m. and like being intentional about doing a puzzle every day and like really committing to relaxing as well. Just to make sure I don't crash out, essentially. But you know, a little bit of a crash out here and there, right? It's all good. But anyway, I need to do a little bit of cleanup, and then I think I'm going shopping this afternoon. I don't know. I haven't really heard much about that. In the meantime, I will probably, maybe I'll do a little bit of outlining, but I think I might just take the day off of writing because I did write like a lot of words. Like I wrote 10,000 words in the last like 5 days, I think, which I guess is only 2,000 words a day, but I did write and edit through them. I don't need to justify. I could also edit the blog where I finished this book. Also, I need to finish the blog. So yeah, there's lots to do. I need to like look at a planner and like decide things, you know?
Travel on by locomotive, turning of the century. See their fine clothes, soot is turning, satin's black as the night can be. But there's a new line, the lacquer worn up, cold as green as a mountain spring. Through the forest and over water, Northern Railway beauty sings. Didn't you know?
Okay, hi. Okay, a little update. Oh, you can see my closet. I never want you to see how messy that is. So a little update. It's funny, this is like probably one of the first times you're seeing this outfit, but you're gonna be sick of it. Anyway, I was at the coffee shop for around an hour and a half, I think, and I focused on solidifying like what is the main character arc for Dahlia and for Cecil for book 2, and also like the main arc, like what do we need to accomplish, what arc does the story take. It is a romantasy, and so like what is their romance about in this book, like what is the struggle that they go through as a couple. And you know, this is the first time I'm ever writing truly a second book, and it was challenging at first to think of like what is the romance arc of this book, because in most books the romance is like how did they get together, right? How did they come together? And so to take this couple that sort of already exists, what is the arc of their relationship in this book? And also how do I build upon like the overall themes and arc of the first book to have like a satisfying but also a distinct sequel? Because while they are very much one story, I do also want book 1 to be complete, which it does feel complete, and book 2 to feel like it has its own beginning, middle, and end. And I think I'm getting there. The first book is very much the big bad in the first book is this group of people from where Cecil's from. And I think in the second book, like while it starts with that same conflict, the big bad in the second book is more so from where Dahlia's from. And so while they both are evil and bad in different ways, it kind of shifts to like, oh, we thought that this was the bad guy, but the bad guy is actually worse and has worse intentions than the original bad people. You know, it's sort of like it shifts its main conflict. Not really. Like, honestly, the conflict is the same throughout the whole thing, but like who is dealing out the conflict is different, and how they decide to combat it is different. I'm trying to decide if I should like tell you what their arcs are. Cecil very much has a bravery arc of like how to not be a coward, and that's his arc in book 1 as well. Is like, it's not necessarily that he's like a wimpy coward, but he very much has a bravery arc of like having to come to terms with like, okay, maybe I need to look beyond what I've always thought I was responsible for, you know? Actually, no, that's very much Dahlia's. They have similar arcs, but Cecil's is more about like, I cannot be blind anymore. Like I need to be brave and finding something to be brave for, you know? And in book 2, Cecil's arc is very much, I'll tell you in a second, but what I ended up doing is I had a paragraph in Notion for Dahlia and for Cecil, and at first I couldn't quite figure out like what is their main arc. And so I would write out like, here's kind of what they're dealing with in this book. And then by the end of the paragraph, I had like a thesis to sentence that mapped up like what their arc is, and then I italicized it, and I ended up doing that for her, him, and the book as a whole of like, what is the arc that we go on? And I'm happy with that. And it was difficult though. It was very mind meldy, brain meldy of like how, like I pretty much know what happens in book 2 and like how do I align that consistently with like a theme or an arc of characters that makes sense. It's rebelling against me, so I can't tell you right now what their themes are or their arcs are, but I will as soon as possible. But yeah, so I did that, and then I answered all of my emails I have been meaning to send. Lots of emails this week and hadn't, so I caught up on my emails and messages for the most part. And then I went to the pool. And since then I've been back, I've been pre-recording some videos for November so that I can give myself, if I need a day off of filming or editing, I have something ready to go. So I just filmed a comparison of my first and last draft, which is really fun actually. It's like 40 minutes long. So prepare yourself for that. I think I might record one more video. I also filmed the outro for the vlog that you saw of me finishing my book. If I'm feeling up to it, try to film one more video while I blow dried my hair once and I'm like, okay, we gotta maximize this. We gotta maximize this, you know? I'm kind of like I only have about an hour left to do anything before the rest of my day will kind of commence from here. So, and okay, the other thing I did is I started the more in-depth Save the Cat and I got to about the midpoint. It's still shaky, but I think I've been kind of sitting with it for a few hours, and I think I'm gonna go, like tomorrow morning, I'm gonna work on the outline more, and so I'm kind of hoping it will have settled in more. Let's see if I can finally pull up their arcs, if my computer will be so gracious as to let us look at a website. She sometimes she works great, sometimes she has a little hissy fit. Anyone remembers the daily videos last year that started with me having to bring my computer into the computer store to get a new battery because it was breaking down. So Dahlia's main arc is, oh, this is actually it's not really spoilery, but her arc for this book is, even if your circumstances are bad, stewing in them is still destructive, which pairs with her first book arc, which is very much like yes, you have been dealt a bad hand, but learning that like your dealt hand is not the only hand that exists, and like being brave beyond yourself, essentially. And Cecil's arc for this book is sometimes bravery means changing your mind. Oh, I remember writing that. It's such a banger, actually. So sometimes bravery means changing your mind, because he's had this worldview about things, and it's kind of going to play out that the way that they're going to solve or attempt to solve these problems kind of doesn't go against his morals or anything, but it's like, it's different from what he expected good to look like. And so having to like come to terms with that. And their romance arc is, in book 1, they sacrificed themselves for each other, but now they have to actually try and be together with all of these decisions that they have to make. And also one of Cecil's challenge, like, it's also challenged by the fact that Dahlia wants to save a world that he hates. Like, that's very much the dynamic here. She kind of hates it too, to be honest, but that is how it's going. I was really happy with that. And then I actually got pretty far, but I didn't, like, the first half is like a lot of paragraphs in the Save the Cat outline, and then the second half is like, which does tend to happen to me. I might have mentioned this before, but I'm also really toying with a spin-off that follows a different couple in this book. That is a prequel, and it's a bodyguard romance. I'm obsessed with it, and I keep thinking about ideas for it. I have this like bullet point at the end of my notion that's like, and another thing for the bodyguard romance, and another thing for the bodyguard romance. So I think that will also maybe be a book that I end up writing at some point. The bullet points are actually insane, because what I have of this was like, as I was writing Act 2 Part 2 of book 1, I found that I needed like, what is going to happen in book 2 to make it make sense? And so then I had all of these bullet points of like, here's what happens in Act 1, here's what happens in Act 2. And there's like 4 bullet points per, and I can't read them to you because they're so spoilery, but they're insane. They're so diabolically written. Like, what do you mean? I'm trying to find one that I can read, but I can't. Literally none of them. There's one I want to read to you so bad, but I can't. Because it's literally, it would spoil literally everything, so I can't. But like, I'm actually obsessed with that. But I think one more session will have me finishing the Save the Cat beat outline situation. And I think the other thing I will do before moving on from the outlining brainstorming of this is to outline Act 1 in chapters, or like the first 10 chapters of the book, what will happen. Because I've been doing that kind of 10 chapters at a time and it's worked really well.
Oh, bring me back to that day. I had all of this waiting ahead. It kills to be halfway alive since I had you, and I want till I see you again. I don't mind spending a little time away, but want your hands and our pixels on the web. Down with this internet. I run and I run, call you up, you're on the other side. Say my name.
Okay, well, I have done, I think I got to the end of the Save the Cat. Although, to be completely frank with you, I have no idea, because halfway through I got distracted by a chair on Wayfair, and then I started looking at chairs for like 20 minutes, and so that is all I really remember, to be honest. Let me look at the Save the Cat. Turns out I still need to finish it. Okay, so now I finished it. Roughly. I mean, I wrote like the second half of my outline, which is very typical for my outlines, is very extremely like, here's what happens, not how it happens at all. So I think all that I really have left is to look at the first act or so and beat it out into chapters. Typically, I wouldn't even do this at this stage. But I think the way the timing's gonna shake out, I will end up writing a little bit of this at the beginning of November before I get my edits. So I do want to have a little bit more clarity, but I think I will actually do that perchance in November before I, like right before I start writing. Because I sort of know the first 2 chapters, so I could get started. But yeah, I think that will be the rest of this video, is finishing up any last touches. So I did some B-roll of this. I don't know if I actually talked about it. I have also been looking at new music for my vlogs, clearing out file space so that I don't have to worry about that when exporting things. I'm gonna go to Barnes & Noble, today, question mark? I don't know. Whenever it makes sense, I'm gonna go. Because I do, and this is not really Preptober related, but I haven't gotten Local Heavens yet, and I want to see if it's at the bookstore before I order it online. So I'm gonna go check that out. And you know, I feel like it's always like kind of a staple of Preptober to go to a bookstore and daydream, so I'll do a little bit of that. And I would like to get caught up on like laundry, and when I start November, I would like to have a clean house. We'll see. Although then you wouldn't get as many cleaning montages, so like, you know, you give and you take. Yeah, I'm feeling good about this outline actually. I mean, good is maybe an overstatement, but it's actually, I think, a similar amount to what I had for the first book when I started. And as I was writing, I would kind of think of things for later in the outline, and then I would go and fill it in. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. There will be a video out on November 1st, so I will see you then. Like and subscribe in the meantime. If you have any questions that you want me to answer during the month of November, or just generally, let me know down below. Or comment down below pumpkin emoji, and I will see you